turns and what happens in these numbers. You've got Nelson's on one side, 111 up against 121 on the other. This is a battle that's going down to the wires. So, you know, you'll be chewing your nails, having your breakfast, having your lunch. It's going to be a very, very anxious few hours because remember, as the rounds of voting go on, and if the margin is narrow, and in a moment on the election intelligence dashboard, I'll be able to track that for you, the exact number of seats where the margin is less than 1,000, less than 2,000, less than 5,000, you will realize just how tight this election is as it plays out. Rajdeep, have you got breakfast or not, Rajdeep?
My southern comfort has already begun. I'm not getting my alcohol southern comfort, so I've got my idlis with sambar. I can't have those chips, bad for my cholesterol. My wife has warned me against having those chips. So I'm going to stick to my idli sambar because it's easier, it's comfortable, it's easier. Therefore, even analyzing a Tamil Nadu or a Puducherry or a Kerala, because it appears that leads tend to be much clearer in the southern states at the moment. Sachidanand Murthy, what is it about you people in the south? You don't, you know, unlike a Madhya Pradesh, unlike a Bengal today, you keep us waiting for a long time. Manu Sundaram and Tom Vadakan, both of you one from Kerala, one from Tamil Nadu. Do you make better breakfast in Tamil Nadu, Manu, than any other part of the country? Comfort food?
And perhaps that is why it is easier to count votes in the morning. But nevertheless, like I said, I have to advise caution, Mr. Sardesai, and you know this very well. We are still only past the second round. I know earlier...
You're a bit worried. You're a bit worried because the AIADMK is not getting wiped out.
Not at all. Not at all. We never expected this to be a very easy election, and no election is. But I just want to point out, I think Mr. Kanwal earlier had mentioned in Coimbatore South, Kamal Hassan leading. And after one round, I have the number here, Kamal Hassan is leading by 40 votes greater than the Congress candidate. It is still very close in many of the constituencies, and you will see the trend setting after the fourth or the fifth round, because early trends will only give you an indication as to
but
which
it's not a
way.
wipeout. It's not a wipeout, Veera Raghav. It's not a wipeout at the moment. Early trends now showing a slight closing of the gap. Palanisamy, and I've been saying this, COVID made a difference in many states. He's not been seen. I went, traveled, people said, Palanisamy done good job, sir.
Rajdeep, I think the only lesson right now is that the Bengali reports election results faster than the Tamilian. Since you started that off, they seem to have reported much, much faster. It is close. It does appear to be closer than what you had predicted, what we have predicted. Let's wait for the trends to stabilize.
No, the DMK is clearly ahead. Let me be clear. DMK is clearly ahead, but we thought, you know, they could be 200 out of 234.
That's right.
At the moment seems unlikely.
That's right. That's right. It's not a wipeout. It doesn't look like a wipeout, but you never know until the trends stabilize in a bit from now. I'm still reasonably confident that the DMK will sweep these elections. The question is by how much and what kind of a margin it's going to come through.
Okay, Tom Vadakan, a quick question to you on Kerala before you leave us. Does the BJP secretly want the left to win? You want your old boss Rahul Gandhi and the Congress to lose?
In politics, one of the major issues are that you don't speak your heart on a variety of things. And on political agenda and a variety of other issues, I don't think you'll get any lead from any spokesman of the
Tom
Bharatiya Janata Party.
Vadakan, who's your enemy number one? Isn't there a BJP strategy? You want the Congress to lose Kerala so that the Congress has lost 2 consecutive elections and you can start poaching on congressmen from the state. Yes or no?
Rajdeep, Congress is its own enemy. It doesn't need an extra enemy outside. The Congress DNA, as of now, under the current leadership, has got a built-in DNA which is ruining itself. So how do you blame the Bharatiya Janata Party?
No, but there's a flip, Rajdeep, within the BJP, which Tom Vadakan can obviously not admit on air, which is that if they lose badly in both Assam and in Kerala, then the Congress will be, then even the Gandhi family will be forced to accept that maybe their time has passed and they'll have to bring somebody else in as president who will obviously do a much better job than Rahul Gandhi will, and that could potentially lead to a revival because there is a certain amount of anti-incumbency on account of the way the governments handle the COVID crisis. So therefore, if you have anybody else against you, from Amit Shah's perspective, from the BJP's perspective, the best case scenario is for Rahul Gandhi to come back.
So you're saying that for the BJP, the best case scenario is Rahul Gandhi returning as Congress president?
They'd love that.
That's their ideal
Because
scenario.
they are
Because then you can
convinced.
play your Namdar versus
No,
Kamdar
not just that.
narrative.
They are convinced that people will see all that Narendra Modi has done or not done, good, bad, ugly. They look at Rahul Gandhi's face, they'll see Modi's face, and they'll vote for Modi. They are 100% convinced about that.
Okay, interesting. Because Kaushik Deka, you track the Congress. Is that what is going to happen irrespective of what happens in these results? These results will be a huge blow if they stay the way they are. Congress losing Assam and Kerala, losing Puducherry also at the moment. Will that lead to any kind of rethink? What happens now in terms of leadership of the Congress at all?
I think Congress leadership, Gandhi family will be saved by COVID for the simple reason that if the result as it is going now, the rebels in the Congress party would have demanded that there should be a leadership change, there should be a plenary session, which cannot happen now. Will they have a ready-made excuse? So for the time being, they have a lifeline to survive probably a few months more or maybe a year more. But after that, definitely there will be a challenge to the leadership. And that's why you can see sudden activity by the Gandhi family. They are giving interviews, they are reaching out, and they are trying to create a narrative that they are providing leadership in terms of fighting back COVID and being with the people.
Right. So they'll claim some kind of a moral victory on COVID, that we are the ones who are raising the right issue on COVID, even as you suffer political setbacks. Big story coming in.